We are in fear, and uh, and hopefully no one actually gets used to it. So lovely days, every day so lovely, lovely days, every day so lovely. So we're gonna do some stuff. We're gonna try to go here and see if I can stock up and move out again because I'm outside the circle probably. Am I? Wait, see. Nope, that circle hasn't even shown up yet. Alright. I wish you could do this more easily with a, wait, what am I doing? Okay, cool. I wish you could, like, see your map a lot more easily and stuff like that. Like realize the cues and stuff like that, but it only loads when you hit the ground, I guess. Maybe just to keep everyone guessing it most of the time to murder more people. But I think the game would actually be a lot more fun if you could actually see where the circle was before you landed. I think Call of Duty did it like that, but yeah. But all right, so let's see if we can't try to. There are certain things that I liked about Call of Duty. The graphics, you know, like but of course, like, graphics aren't everything because uh, you can hide behind little uh, what's the word? Loading graphics, basically. You can hide behind those things. It's pretty good. And all right. So, how is this? There we go, and just a quick scope. All right. Gonna do, it's gonna do. It's gonna do. Nice, nice, nice. That's what I was going for. Using my first aid kit out in the open. Just Trying to call in those peeps to come. See, they don't want to get me anymore. They don't want to. They don't want to get me anymore. Why? 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 I'm gonna have to find them now. I'm gonna have to find them. They're not gonna come to me anymore. Because they don't know how good I am at the game. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Alright, let's check it out. Checking out the stuff with these guys. Hopefully, frag grenades. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. 5.56. That's what I'm talking about. 25 ammo. Yeah. Good job, Mike, for the handgun. Alright. We get a vest. Alright, enough of that. We're going to talk about a topic now. And, what is a topic that I want to actually talk about? Other than quantum mechanics and quantum stuff like that. Oh, survival in the wild. That's a good one. A lot of people don't know that doing certain things in the wild can help you survive. A lot of times I realize that whenever I was camping, I get really scared or I get really really nervous, stuff like that. People don't know sometimes that is a latent response to an outside threat. But outside threats could be anything. It could be anything from a mosquito to a bear. Usually, when you hear the bear, or when you hear like crackling and like something like that, like a lot of times bears make noise. They make noise like other animals. They try to extend their life by making noises around people so that they can avoid predators. A lot of bears do have predators, and they don't really realize that. That's the reason why sometimes they come up to you and they ask for food or anything like that, and then if they act like your pet or for a little while, then literally all they're looking for is food. So most of the time you have to realize that that's what pets do. So they want food, and bears see that, or they hear it in some way, shape, or form. Because people who camp with their pets, and when they camp with their pets, they give their pets food, and they see that sometimes. So when they're usually hunting for other things, they could run upon a campsite, see a family with a pet, or they smell a pet on someone, and they think they ate that pet, and then they try to go for either food or let's see, not revenge. They don't go for revenge. They just try to get up the smell because they think that it has something to do with and that's why a lot of people don't realize when they go to like a campsite or something like that, they have to wash themselves afterwards, because a lot of animals have been there, and whenever people don't realize that if they don't wash themselves, then that's what their animal, if they're rambunctious or like overly exuberant, that's usually what the problem is most of the time. People don't realize that. Surviving in the wild is just as hard as surviving in your home. Most of the time, people don't understand that, and that's the reason why parents get so angry at children. Because they shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't be doing that. But that's the reason why I think a lot of parents get angry at their children in the first place, is because they don't want them doing things. Because they were too good, and they knew it, and they didn't know how. Like, that's usually the reasons why, most of the time. Like when I tried to become the dog whisperer when I was younger, and it was very dumb. It was a very stupid move, because I decided that petting a dog that was eating, that wasn't mine, was a good idea, and I realized that it wasn't a good idea most of the time. Got him. Okay, sub 6-2 for bandage. Let's wait and get rid of this 2-point scoop. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. And let's go 5-5. Helmet times 2 and the 5-5. 4 times scope. It's probably the best. So get laser sight on a vector and get that first aid bandage. Let's go get some. Get rid of the stun grenade and pick up the first aid kit. Here we go. Alright. We got our 4 times scope. And we're ready to roll. But most of the time I went up to basically this dog that was eating. And it was a German Shepherd, mind you. German Shepherds do have a little bit of a temper when they're younger. And it probably didn't see me as a threat, but it saw me as a younger pup, I guess, trying to eat its food, and then that's basically what happened. So it didn't latch on or anything like that. It didn't try to it didn't try to hurt me or anything like that. But it tried to let me know that that was his food that he was eating, even though it was my cat's food. So that he found it first, and he wanted to show me a lesson, basically, and. Most of the time I realize that a lot of times the way people kind of use the environment in certain cases can often bring about the reasons why they become afraid of certain things. Sometimes, I guess, like if a person like mimicked an animal's behavior in one generation and they never told their family about it, or they never told anyone about it, then a lot of times people think that they ate or tried to be an animal or something like that. Like, I don't know how that actually even works. Most of the time it's just drugs. Oh, there it was. Alright, cool. And the only reason why drugs and what's the word? Because drugs bring your mind down to kind of like de-evolve, I guess. And he's behind me. Yay. Got water. Awesome. I guess people don't get where those things come from. I guess what people would do sometimes to emulate or to honor an animal, they would kind of get into fights, or they would beat themselves up to honor that animal because they did something to its home. So that's usually what an adversary does to himself to be able to say that there's an inconsistency that they were right about, and that's the reason why that war was fought, or the reason why people didn't understand, or like, and I'm not talking about any war in particular. I'm talking about pretty much every war that has ever happened in the history of man, because afterwards people decidedly so made it to where those wars could never happen again, and I'm very proud of that moment when they decided that, and a lot of people didn't realize that there were a lot of times where I did some stupid things, and I did some really dumb stuff because I thought that it would work, or that I would be able to work because of it. I didn't realize I was already working at the time, and most of the time it had to do with let's see, it had a lot to do with my state of mind at the time, and I was and it's hard to share sometimes, but I was kind of 15 years old, and I was like unknowingly kind of I wouldn't want to say like abused or anything like that, but I was like I was led astray by a woman who told me that she was gonna take care of me or something like that, and it was mostly because she was kind of overweight, and she didn't have a lot of male suitors, I guess, or at least she told me that, and then told me that these kind of yeah. So most of the time the hectic stuff that I saw in my life, the stuff that I really wanted to get back to was impeded by that, and that's the reason why um, uh, she basically kind of like just called me a cockboy and like and then proceeded to basically tell me lies as I was just. It's hard to say, but people can understand and realize that. But there are a lot of things that that I can't remember because of it, and there are a lot of people that I can't trust anymore because of it as well. And I really wish that I had rich kid problems, because I was super uber depressed and for a real long time I hated myself all the time. I hated myself a lot, and people should understand that I don't hate myself that much anymore. I kind of realized some stuff, and I realized where I should be in my life, and I'm kind of working through it right now, and realizing the fact that the feelings, the emotions that I had, they're all real, and I need to acknowledge them, I guess. Most of the time, I just sometimes want to pretend that it didn't, you know. And I'm not trying to play the victim or anything like that, because I've done some stupid things as well. And I'm not trying to say that I'm a role model because of it, because there's just no excuse, basically. I mean, as far as Mississippi is concerned, so. But they decided to try to put me into a mental hospital because the state pressed charges against me, even though I wasn't uh, in the wrong of doing anything to any woman that I respect, and even the woman that actually did that stuff to me, or yeah, and I was 15 at the time, so there wasn't a lot of things that I thought would be fun. So it's like I was basically forced into a position that I didn't want to be in, and I used the fact that I had virginity to get me out of it. And luckily, she was abiding at the time, and I'm sure if there was some sort of other mix-up, then she probably wouldn't have been. So I'm happy for that, and I just really am like so sorry. But it's like you don't see that stuff coming. You don't see that stuff coming, because it's like you're meant to want to ignore it, because you're like maybe if I ignore it it'll go away, or maybe if I ignore it it'll stop from being the thing that's on my mind, or maybe if I become obsessed with it, then I'll learn everything about it. And you're just like, no, you're just gonna learn everything about that situation, and that situation is gonna rule your life sometimes. And I'm pretty much out of that. I'm pretty much out of that stage, basically, where it ruled my life forever. And that's where I think a lot of people don't realize that that the more you look into a certain person's eyes and try to see their soul, the more chaos you see, and the more craziness you understand, and the more terrible things that people have done have just come to the surface, and and in some cases literally ruined people's lives. And not just like wars or famine, but literally insensitivity and just not even caring. Like, not even caring about people that just like care about stuff, you know. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, hey, let's look back and see where all this stuff came from. Let's look back and see how these people decided that it was going to be okay to do this shit to 15-year-olds or 14-year-olds or dudes who thought that they had everything and just thought that somehow they would be something like that. You know, just look back and see and check the registry of dumbassery and idiocy that literally came about because of people's assholistic ways. And it literally came from a bunch of different places where people don't really understand where it came from, but I think they need to understand it has a lot to do with little people. People who are referred to as munchkins or dwarves or anything like that. There was an entirety of our evolution that people just skipped over. And a lot of people were attracted to smaller dudes. A lot of women were attracted to smaller dudes, and they didn't know why, because their evolution didn't tell them that literally an entire race of people sometimes died out or evolved or even just left like completely because they had ways to get to other places. Like it's just like I don't want to ruin any channels, I guess, as far as this goes, but there were a lot of reasons why women were actually attracted to a lot of younger dudes, because they thought they had the answers most of the time, and in some cases they actually did. That had a lot to do with the way that they were doing things in school and the way that they were making friends and having fun and doing things, and women sometimes wanted that. The way that all this actually goes to is the fact is that it's something that they didn't do when they were younger. Alright, we're getting this dude. Alright, he's behind the rock. Did he move? Does he see me? There he is. There he is. Alright, I'm gonna go. But the most I can see, the most I can understand about it is people should really look back into their history and realize that there are sections of paperwork and everything that is just missing. Like 23andMe could never do enough for me. I think it's really, really the truth, and that's why I think that I don't agree with a lot of it, because people were considered literally magic sometimes, and they were literally slaughtered by the millions, and they didn't understand that. They didn't realize that people lived in forests sometimes, and they really needed to understand that those things and people and creatures are remnants of what, like, are remnants, literally, of an evolution that almost went astray. They're not what you think they are. They're not zombies or parasites or anything like that. Those people walking around in the forests are literally forest-dwelling people. They seem dead or look dead, but that's what they do to ward off predators. It's real. It's actually real. And people should know that. They're not ghosts, they're not zombies, they're literally an evolution that no one has ever seen before. And that's like the craziest thing that anyone has ever known. And realize that because of those evolutions and things like that, people are actually able to solve certain cold cases and also give therapy to both sides, the victim and the perpetrator, before they ever are able to try to ever do it again, you know? And that has nothing to do with any magic or any sort of thing. It just has to do with suggestion and them sending out certain messages through television. And that's the reason why the NSA and a lot of different CIA organizations do that, because it's not the thought box, but it tries to profile people, like the AI and the simulations and all those other different things. Here we go. Alright. I need to put on auto. Alright, but yeah, that's basically, it's like full circle, basically. Like, completely and utterly. They should really understand that. It is an entire evolution that we literally forgot about. And as a society, we've forgotten about tons of evolutions that we've been in between. And that's why, and the only reason why West society would be a lie is because not acknowledging the fact that people have actually existed. But understanding that through certain fairy tales and certain things, people are able to gain new life and realize that that all those things are from the old world, and they have to be not shunned but respected and disbelieved, because most of them were absolute lies about what actually happened. And like that American Gods, that dude who says I was a king once, that's the remnants of what people used to do. Like people in other countries and stuff like that, they would build a castle, use all their money, and then get people in it, and then have them fund everything in their castle, and literally give nothing back. And that's why those castles sometimes remain empty. Most of the time, they don't realize that, and most of the time they don't realize that that anyone's onto them or anyone's after them. But they have to realize that pretty much their dance is over. So. Alright, I think there's... I'm in the blue, so I need to get first aid kits. Put bandages on. Painkillers, and we should be good for the moment. Alright, so... And I really am on disability, so it's like I'm not like lying to anyone or trying to get into anyone's good side or anything like that. I mean, I am trying to get into their good side, obviously, but I am doing so honestly and saying the things that I am. I'm schizoaffective, and I'm borderline genius, but I'm also schizoaffective, and that's when my parents didn't force religion on me or tell me to go into any closets anywhere, because that was the greatest lie that people perpetuated about religion ever, because... Alright, not the greatest lie. Mostly just the parts where kids used to read books in the dark. Which is completely fine, by the way. I am perfectly fine with kids reading books in the dark. I am perfectly fine with it. I have seances sometimes. I light candles. It's great. Not exactly seances, but mostly just video games. And literally nothing else, because that would be complete and utter sacrilege. Which I don't care about, because it doesn't matter to me. Alright, I'm about to die, so here we go. Yep. Here we go. But really, people should understand that those people who are comedians and the people who have those things or have those ideas, they're set forth with knowledge from different people, and that's the reason why they're usually ambassadors. It's not because of their offensivity or anything like that. It's more over their ability to talk to the common man, or even just not non-common man, completely complex men. And to be able to talk to people that are about certain things, and to be able to act and to to tell people that there's such a thing as just, oh man, hiding how good you are at just being the best kind of person, you know? And that's what they used to do back in the day. Most of the time people would sprout out like they sprout out insensitive slurs or something like that, or make up something that they never heard before, or try to make up something that they never had seen, because they were like it's like Aziz Ansari, when Aziz Ansari said and I don't know what happened with this whole thing. I don't know what he's doing with that, but I'm just kind of trying to see what he's gonna make now, I guess. But yeah, maybe he's just going back down to the clubs, I guess, and trying to gain his name again, or something like that. But thinking about the actual being okay with something, or being okay with with someone around you, realizing that person probably could have been like talking to people who weren't like the most amazing sort of people, you know, like they would be really offended if you said the N-word, or if you said a certain thing, or if you said it's gonna get really terrible in here, or it's gonna get really dumb in here, or it's gonna get really mean in here, some sort of thing, you know, like. You can say whatever you want to say, but the social repercussions are usually from young people. People who don't understand that back in the day, all that stuff was hilarious. People didn't care about it, and everyone in political everything thought it was just the most offensive thing they could possibly say. So they would try to say it in certain ways, and then everyone believed a whole bunch of different lies, and that perpetuated into a stereotype, and that stereotype became literally everyone, and pretty much everyone had planned it that way, to be able to stay completely and utterly silent about actually what really happened. And what really happened was fucking I went out on a date with Amelia Clark. Amelia Clark, I went out on a date with her. No, I didn't. What really happened, and this is the hardest thing that I could ever say, is a lot of things got in the way, and a lot of people got in the way, and luckily that never did happen, but it could have, and people should be extremely lucky that I don't know things. And I did that on purpose most of the time, because I could pretty much pick anyone's body language apart and see what they were actually hiding most of the time, because usually they're just like, it's just, people are very lucky that I don't find things. People are very lucky that I don't go into the military. But because if I did, and they actually allowed me to take medication and still be in the military, I'd find everything. I'd find everything that they were hiding, everything. Every little thing, every little nook and cranny of certain things that they were hiding, and constantly moving around and turning into alcohol because they're fucking drug addicts. And I knew it, but it doesn't matter. You can't change their mind on anything. They're going to act like they're not high. They're going to act like they're not drunk. They're going to act like they're not doing anything, but it's all that stuff. Just being dumb and acting like they're inside all the time, and that's why their skin is white. Shit. But realize this, that most of the time you think that something's a certain way, and everyone's just really, really not stupid. But the more you look at it, the more you look at a situation, and the more you realize that it's not just drugs, it's literally people dying. And most of the time it was drugs back in the day, and they should have realized it, and they should have understood it a little bit more to turn it into something else, to like kind of get it off its path. But like, no, they wanted things to poison people with, because they were a kingdom, and that's how Egypt turned into a money laundering scheme. So because that's what it was, and that's why the pyramids are exactly like that, and they'll stay like that for a very long time. So have a good day, and you are your own one-person bomb squad. You can defuse situations that happen. If something isn't happening, you should get help, though. Realize that you should get help. Realize it. A lot of people should get help, because they think they know something, they think they're doing something right or correctly, and they're not. And most of the time they think that certain symbols or certain things are the pathway to certain enlightenment, but they should understand that following a path of enlightenment is not following the symbols. It's following your own instincts, and following your help and yourself and everything that makes you you, okay? Everything that makes you you, no matter what it is, no matter who you are, gets you to the place you need to be. And realize that your own instincts are usually the thing that you need to follow to actually gain enlightenment, and most likely safety. Because safety is the guidance to enlightenment. Realize that. And also understand that beautiful and wonderful people are always there to help, and have a great freaking day. Alright?